And we are live. Hello, friends. Super excited to have office hours today. So let me just get a couple of things situated here. Office hours, there we go. And grab a link to that and stick it in here starting now. And Zoom is, oops. Okay, cool. So let me share my screen. So if you've never heard of office hours before, this is your opportunity to come and ask questions and I will answer. You can leave them in the office hours Discord channel and I will go through and answer these, and you can watch the recording later. So if you're not able to watch it live, I do give priority to people who are in the Zoom call. So go ahead and join the Discord, click on this link and you'll be able to share your screen if you need to, or whatever we need to answer your questions. Yeah, this is live on YouTube and it will be available forever, and as are all of my past ones. I'll also mention that the Call Kent podcast is also available for you. So if you have questions, I just hit episode 100, starting to think I might need to split this up into seasons because there's lots of scroll going on here. Anyway, that is that. So there's nobody in the Zoom call, which is unusual, but not, that's not unheard of. So I'll just scroll up here and if anybody's watching who wants to ask a question in the Zoom call, feel free to join, or you can feel free to just ask in here. Okay. I think this is where we left off. So I like to say answering this now, so that they know they can come and watch if they like and provide additional context if I need. Where do you prefer to put your hook for a component with testing and Storybook in mind? The two common patterns I see are passing it in as props from some parent component or directly calling the hook in the component. Yeah, I have never seen this in production code, and I really don't recommend doing this. This is kind of like a form of dependency injection just to make testing easier. But I think that is a load of hooey. I don't think that's a good idea. But I mean, it is just especially if you're using TypeScript, you're going to be type safe and stuff. So I don't know, but I wouldn't do it. I would not do that. I would definitely use it directly inside of the component. I've been told it's better to put the hook data in a parent component and pass it as a prop. That is even when nothing else is going to use it, because it makes Storybook / testing easier. Yes, it probably does. With testing, the thing is, if you're going to accept it as a prop, then you need to make sure you have some test that tests the thing that passes the prop. Otherwise, maybe it's passing it wrong, or there's something weird with that integration. And so, yes, it may make some tests easier, but it will make other tests harder. So that 6 is there. As far as Storybook is concerned, what you're probably running into is this hook is going to make a network call or something, and that's not available in Storybook for some reason. In that case, I would use MSW, and I've actually never used Storybook with MSW, but I'm sure that's absolutely positive it's possible. There's even an add-on, it looks like. So this is, I would just use this. You're going to be doing, I recommend doing that with your tests as well. And then the network requests don't matter, and you can respond with whatever you want to respond with. Here, actually, I'll grab a link to that and stick that here. The idea being that when you mock your component, you can pass it any mock you want. This makes sense. However, I couldn't help feel there was a better way. There is a better way, and you're showing it right here. Found this pattern of doing things. Yeah, that's pretty common. But even still, I would probably recommend use some hook is probably making a network call, and I would just mock that out with MSW. You'd be way better off, and you don't have to do all this nonsense. I know there's a render hook method. However, I'm looking in cases where you render component and the hook is inside it. Yeah, you wouldn't want to test these in isolation unless that's a reusable hook or something. In which case, yeah, you can test it in isolation, and that's what the render hook is for. To add some context, my use case, I have a component that has a custom hook inside it, and when called, it navigates to another page. I want to render that component, check to see the button gets clicked and navigates away, and then assert the DOM previously exists is no longer there. Yeah, totally. So it's not even making network calls. So I can't even think of why you'd want to do all of this nonsense anyway. So it sounds like your intuition is correct. There is a better way. And I say do it inside of the component, and you probably don't even need to mock it. The only time you'd really need to mock it is if the state is really, it's a difficult state to get into. That's probably doesn't count. I'd need to see a specific example of that. Or if, yeah, I suppose if that hook is doing a bunch of stuff that's really hard to set up, maybe like it relies on a bunch of global state or something, even then, still no. I do not recommend using Gestomock for hooks very often. There are certainly cases for it, but this does not sound like one of them. And not only if it's navigating away, you should probably make sure that the DOM elements are removed, but also that the URL gets updated. You can do that. So good luck, have fun. Server, explain why could we possibly use the key prop the following way. I'll click on that. Is it, I mean, I get it when we use arrays, but here we use static numbers as keys rendering some elements. Is it for the matter of not re-rendering them when there's navigation, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, okay, interesting. So this is a React Google login component here. Holy smokes. Google login component. Tons of props. My goodness. This is what we call an apropcalypse. That was Jen Creighton made up that. That's hilarious. Okay. Login button, create element with the children. Yeah, okay. So here you actually have to, if you're going to pass children as an array like this, you have to provide a key. Otherwise, React is going to be like, I don't know, like if these change order or something, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. So this is actually just suppressing a warning. And it's not going to behave any different than if you left those out. If I were building this, I think I may just use JSX. And in the JSX case, you don't need to do that. If you didn't want to use JSX, then this will still work. You would just pass these as multiple arguments. So instead of create element props elements, or L1 and L2, you just not do the array, and that will be exactly the same, except now you don't have to do a key. So that's what I would do. Yeah, thanks for the questions. Very interesting. Murat, can you give some pointers about migrating from React Router 6.3 to 6.4? The docs are lacking. So there shouldn't be any migration necessary. It should be an upgrade. Like this is a minor version bump. And so you should be able to just, boom, upgrade or update the dependency here. And actually, I'll just say answering now. You should be able to just update the dependency, and then everything should work. And then you can slowly, over time, start using the new features. And so that's where you go through I would strongly advise the React Router tutorial, the new tutorial. If we go to reactrouter.com and just, wow, that was fast. Like, look at this. This is nuts. Boom. Oh my gosh. I mean, now it's in my browser cache, but if I go, boom, holy smokes, this site is nuts so fast. What a joke. What a joke. This app is React. How is that possible? It's so fast. People, yeah, React is great. Okay, anyway, so I would strongly advise reading through this whole thing. And then I would look at, I'm new. This is the tutorial. Strongly, like spend 2 hours. This is going to be a huge part of your development. So I really recommend that you spend 2 hours just learning React Router and the new features and everything. it like just read the stuff. Even if you don't follow along the tutorial, just read it. You will learn a lot. It's really, really valuable. Okay, it looks like actually it's going to be a very short office hours today. This may be partially because I no longer have a way to notify people who want to be notified when office hours is. So that's interesting. What I'm planning on doing eventually is making it so that when I start a live stream or schedule one, an event will get scheduled automatically. And so when you're in Discord, you're like, oh, something's going on right now. So that'll happen, and hopefully more people will know what's going on. But we've filled out or answered all the questions in here, and there's nobody in Zoom. So this is going to be a really short one today. And that actually works out because I am going to give some talks. I am traveling to, where is it? To Infobip in Croatia next week. It's going to be sick. I cannot wait. This stage is like one of the coolest things. You got screen on top above the speaker. There are 3 of them, and the stage is circular. So you like walk around in circle. It's so cool. I love this stage. And then I'm also going to React India. And that is going to be awesome. So really looking forward to that. Hey, look, it's my face. So yeah. Anyway, so the journey starts today. So this actually works out that there's not much going on in office hours. I will wait, Idris, for you to ask your question. So I'll just move this over here because I want to see what this message is. Okay. Idris, question, not a technical one. That's fine. I see one of the best guys that knows how to self-promote. Yeah. You know how to talk about yourself without sounding like a bragger. Success. You have some advice. Actually, you know what, Idris, would you be would it be okay if you ask this on the Call Kent podcast? Because I don't have anything in the queue, and I'd love to have an episode today. And so, and this is a really great question for the podcast. So I would love it if you could ask on there. If not, that's fine. I'll answer it now if you'd like. Yeah, happy to answer it now, but there's nothing in the queue for the Call Kent podcast. So, and that's a really good question for today. Edmund is also sending a question, so we may end up having a full office hours today after all. So I will wait just a moment. Oh, the chat, the typing has stopped. All right, we're typing. Okay, so fun story. I think this is okay to share. When I was in the hospital after my accident that night, before anybody knew, my wife got to the hospital. We talked and everything. Then I told her, hey, you need to let my co-founders at Remix know that what happened. And so she got my phone and she was typing it out. And she takes a lot of time to think about what she's typing and what she's going to send to people. And so she was taking a while, and the little ... thing, Kent is typing, showed up in the chat to Ryan Florence. And he was like, he had no idea what was going on. He didn't know it was my wife. He thought it was me, and I was just taking a long time. And so he's like, Kent, what is it? What do you need to say? It says you're typing. What are you going to say? And he was like making this big deal about it. And then my wife says, like, Kent was in a terrible accident, and he just felt like so bad. My wife and I crack up about that all the time. It's hilarious. Okay, Edmund, Idris looks like is going to ask on the Call Kent podcast. So thank you for that. Edmund, I will wait for your question for a little longer. What are you going to say, Edmund? What is it? What is it? Just looking at my email while we wait for this last question to come in. Here we go. What's the main difference between passing a ref prop versus a regular prop? Yeah, okay, so ref, that is a special prop that will not make it to the child without using forward ref. And forward ref is a little different because the ref will come as the second argument. So that's the difference. Value will come in as a regular prop. Ref will only come in if you're using forward ref, and it comes in not as a prop. And a ref is just a way to access an instance of a thing. So for a component, that's the instance of the component. There's not actually an instance of function components like there was class components. And so that's where you use imperative handle so that you can add things to the ref. And then, yeah, value that just comes in as a regular prop. In practice, if you're using a ref, then you should probably use the ref prop. It's normally not the best to just pass it as a regular prop because there's semantic meaning there. But I'm not your mom. You do what you want. So that is that. And it looks like Ed is typing now. So we will wait for Ed for a little bit. Okay. I'll just go ahead and close these. I'll move this over and see what the response to this message was. We're just kind of waiting. How to become a GDE. How to become a GDE. There you go. I don't know, man. You Google it. Yeah, that's what I would do. Just there you go. I became a GDE years ago. I was invited by Igor Minar from the Angular team, and that's how I got started. So I would recommend spending time making lots of public things because that's what you're expected to do as a GDE. Yeah, so when you want to be something, you start being that thing before you're invited to be that thing, within reason. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. Yeah, thank you very much. I want to ask, is there any way I can hire the URL of my API calls? And is there a way I can pass data through? I don't understand this question. Sorry. It's been 1 year. I'm using React, but I feel I'm not learning React. I just keep building interfaces. How do you dive deep into React? No joke. I'm not just grifting here. epicreact.dev, exactly what that is. I built that to solve this problem. So there you go. That's what I would suggest. If you want something that's free to get started, then the beginner React would be another good one. Which technology is most excited about? Remix for sure. 100% Remix. That is what I'm most excited about right there. You spend just a couple minutes watching any of my live streams recently, and you'll know that for sure. How do you train your brain to take fast discussion? So like, I'm guessing fast action. Ooh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I do make, yeah, sorry, I don't know. Maybe there's a book about that, but I never read any books about it. I just decided to make decisions fast. My wife puts the reins on me sometimes, and that's really good because it's not always good to make decisions fast. Renee, hey, what's going on? You got any questions for me? You're in the Zoom.
Hello. Yeah, I just joined. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Great, doing well. Yeah, I do kind of have like a minor question that I think you address in Epic React. And I think I found the answer, but I want to make sure it's as universal as I think it is.
Okay.
Basically extracting a custom hook that has a use effect that has a dependency that is part of the consuming component. So it's getting
So
like
it's
hoisted
passed
up
from
to
the,
this.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, you can't just like ignore the dependency array and you can't guarantee all that, you know, stable reference stuff. So in Epic, you do it with the, I think it's the use async. You pass back a function, the run function, instead of relying on dependency arrays.
Yeah. So effectively, I'm taking the use effect from the hook and forcing the user to
Yeah.
of the hook to use the use effect. I don't know if I would say that's very ubiquitous,
Okay.
um, but it was how I did it, and I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. That's like the only way I could find to sort of go, oh, this like, if I want to abstract this use effect in this custom component that has a dependency that the component is aware of, I can't just like abstract out that dependency into the custom hook, but also
Yeah.
pass it in to the call because that's where you run into all the like weirdness. So I was thinking of doing something similar to sort of say like, oh, it's going to return a function that you call in your own effect, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I like that approach because
Yeah.
it doesn't we the thing is the alternative oh, by the way, people, if you haven't heard of this, go to Epic Web Dev right now. Sorry, that just like was auto completing for me. This is what I'm working on today. So if you haven't seen this yet, take a look. But yeah, so the thing that I like about moving the effect responsibility to the caller and like making the caller be responsible for that dependency array is because it means that we can still take advantage of React using closures to avoid these bugs. And so like the alternative is the latest ref pattern.
Right.
And
Right.
then, but now you're like switching the defaults, and it's
Mhm.
not wrong necessarily. That's what React Query does. But it's just important for people to know what trade-offs that they're making there, and it's not always obvious. So
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'll kind of keep playing around. And so yeah, the custom effect doesn't have a use effect. It's just sort of the bulk, or does it?
so the custom hook, it might have a use effect.
Yeah.
I think the real key here is it's the dependency array.
Yep.
So if you are the one who controls the values, then you should be the one controlling the dependency array. And
Cool.
so that's why we move that use effect into the consumer so
Mhm.
that the consumer can control those dependencies. And then in the use async hook, we have a use callback for the run function, but all of the things that run depends on
Is inside.
are inside of that hook, so it's all controlled. So
That's what it
the
was.
I think that the principle is the one who controls the value should also be the one putting those values in the dependency array,
Yep. Yep.
and that seems to simplify things for me.
Cool. Yeah, I'll sort of keep playing. That was the direction I was sort of heading with it. Was like, yeah, I gotta put that dependency back in the consumer world.
Yeah, cool.
Sweet, thanks.
Yep. Um, Can I become a GDE by using React, or do I need to learn Angular? You can totally become a GDE using React. There are plenty of us who use React and are GDEs. I'm a web GDE, so React is web. Sorry, spelling mistake. Okay, so you were wanting to hide your API calls. Is there any way to pass data through route using in React using React Router DOM? Yeah, you can. With the so hiding the URL of your API calls, that's impossible because people like you're making their browser do a thing, and their browser like knows what you're telling them to do, and so the like people could open up the network and make those calls. Like, so that's impossible. You wouldn't care to do that. Now, if there's an API that you're hitting that you don't want them to know you're hitting, like some third-party API, you can make a proxy so that you're just hitting your own thing and proxy it over. But yeah, there's no way to hide what network calls are being made. Even if they didn't have the browser dev tools, like you can still look at your own network traffic and see where what connections are being made and stuff. So that's impossible. As far as passing data through routes, yeah, you want to look into React Router version 6.4, because now routes can actually make data requests as well as mutation requests with forms. And so, yeah, totally. And if you have a parent route and it has some data that you want to get down to the child route, there's actually a context API that's built into React Router using outlets that you can do. It's really, really great. Okay. Do I use Vim? I actually answered this question on the Call Kent podcast. I think it's the last episode. So yeah, give that a listen. How can take money through code? Use Stripe. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do for Rocket Rental, rental.space. I'm working on this. This is just like the quick start thing. So this will completely change, but there's like a login, and you can only log in as me right now. I'm the only one who can log into this right now. Yeah. Anyway, so Rocket Rental, I think I'm going to set up payments probably, and I'm going to use Stripe. I don't get any freelance clients. What would you recommend me? I don't know. I've never done freelance. Sorry. We do have a jobs channel in here. So where is it? Somewhere around here. Jobs. Where is it? General. Jobs. There you go. You can go ask that. Okay, so I do need to travel today, and it looks like questions are still coming in. But feel free to post them, and I'll get to them in the next office hours. And I now have a schedule. If you go to the live streams, I'm not doing office hours next week because I'll be traveling and not sure where I will be. I might still do it because at this point I'll be in India. That would put it at in the evening for me. And if I'm not like out with people or whatever, then maybe I'll do office hours for fun. But yeah, still not planning on that. If you have any questions in the meantime, I do plan on still answering questions in the Call Kent podcast. And so you can record calls there, and I will do my best to answer and all of that. Okay, last question. When is Epic Web Dev course coming? Can't really wait. I can't wait either. It's going to be great. I do not give deadlines. It is a way to die because they're deadlines, right? Just kidding. No, I don't give deadlines, but I can tell you an order of magnitude. We are talking about months, probably not years, before the first chunk of Epic Web comes out. We're going to release it in chunks, most likely. So yeah, we're quite a ways away from Epic Web. Okay, that is that. When am I coming to India? I am. You can actually check out all of my travel on the talks page, and so yeah, you'll find India here. React India. Ta-da! So that will be in like 2 weeks or a week and a half. Yeah, like a week actually, not long. So yeah. That's it. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day, and wish me luck on